obviously, Brent named Grant Wells the starter. Where did he separate himself in the battle over Jason?
Well, going back to spring ball, I think there was a pretty wide gap, coming out of spring ball, Grant being ahead of Jason. And then over the summer, we had a little more access to those guys this summer as coaches. And it wasn't anything like Grant coming back to Jason. Jason made up some ground over the summer, and I think that translated into early on in fall camp. But at the end of the day, even though Jason was catching him and having a great summer and a great camp, Grant was a little bit ahead in everything, in all aspects of just overall command of the offense, understanding the offense, quick, intermediate, and deep ball accuracy. He was just ahead of him in all of those. But like Coach said, us as a staff and our locker room, we feel good that we got two really good quarterbacks.
Brent said, you guys have had some success with explosive plays,
Yep.
downfield, and Grant's a part of that.
Yep.
I mean, has he really kind of opened things up for you guys in terms of, as you're starting to game plan, you like that part, you like that, even more than maybe you did kind of coming in?
No doubt. I think his number one asset is his deep ball accuracy, and it's nothing really that I've taught him. He came here just with really good feel for throwing a deep ball. And when you got a guy like that you have confidence in, that you can take more shots, it's usually a really good rule of thumb. You like to take 2 or 3 shots a quarter, but with him it may be even more. And then we got some guys on the outside we're confident in throwing it to, and they've got good chemistry, and that was built over the summer, so we feel really good about our shots.
He's been named the starting quarterback before, so it's not new for him.
Yeah.
But how did he take the news, and how did Jason react?
That's always tough, when you got to tell a guy who's worked as hard as Jason has worked, that he's the backup. We did it a couple days ago. We called Jason in first, and he took the news like I thought he would. He was disappointed, but he handled it like a pro, because he treats it like he's a pro. And really proud of him from that standpoint. And, there's no doubt in my mind that he will help Grant. They pull for each other, even though they're in a battle. Those guys pull for each other every day, and there'll be a lot of things, on the practice field and in the film room that Jason will see that Grant may not see, and we expect him to help him, and he will. And then on the other side, Grant obviously happy. Sometimes it's kind of a little bit of a weight off their shoulders. That, hey, I ain't got to constantly look over my back, trying to win this job. Now I can go take it and run with it. And that's what we expect Grant to do.
What about the number 3 spot? We've kind of talked about it in the summer, but where's Taj at in his development? You said, he's kind of making strides and with Devin.
And it's coming along, but as for me, I was so worried about, hey, let's find that starter first. And now that we've done that, there'll be a little more focus on Taj and Devin. And, I think it's they're neck and neck right now in the race. They're getting equal reps every day. But their rep count may up a little bit, as we try to figure out, who's the best guy to run those threes.
And do you still like the plan of maybe splitting them on the scout team to try to get them reps during the season?
You very easily could. I think you learn a lot being the scout team quarterback. And we very easily could do that. I think that's not a bad plan at all.
Is it satisfying or beneficial for you as a quarterback's coach to have a guy, to not have to have that on
worry
your plate
about all
still
of
to
them?
do?
Yeah, it is. Once you're still coaching them all, and they're still in the meeting room every day, and you're trying to help them all out with their progress. But it is, and sometimes it's good for your game plan. You can hone in. All quarterbacks are different. They all do things a little better than others. So, now that we've named Grant the starter, maybe we can hone in and fine-tune some of the things that he does best and kind of fit the game plan to him a little bit more.
I asked probably about his leadership. I mean, he said now maybe it'll be developed. I think he thinks it'll develop more.
Yeah.
Is it hard to do that when you've got a competition? And what have you kind of seen that element from him kind of trying to lead the offense?
Leadership, I think Grant, leads by example. He's not a vocal guy. I think that'll come a little bit more. Now that all eyes are on him, and he is the starting quarterback. But he does a good job of that behind the scenes of stuff we never see. And you can, we'll ask certain guys in the locker room, how's Grant away from here? How's he away from us? and we got nothing but positive feedback, from that standpoint.
You mentioned previously you have so much experience being both a quarterbacks coach and an offense coordinator.
Yeah.
What have you noticed? Have you noticed anything about yourself or about the way you approach things now that you only have to focus on quarterbacks and you don't have to focus on being a coordinator at all?
I've noticed a ton, and it's kind of changed my thought process, the way I attack things. But just being able to focus on the detail of quarterback play, the art of quarterbacking, being able to coach those guys every single rep and not having to worry about other things. So just the detail that I'll put into them, is I think is huge, and that's the biggest thing I've noticed from just doing one job instead of two really big ones.
Anything surprise you about fall camp so far for your guys?
I think they've done a good job handling information. We haven't spoon-fed the install at all. We've thrown a lot of volume at them, here in this first, part of half of camp or 2/3 of camp. And just those guys being able to hold that information and go operate the offense. That's the biggest surprise. And it's not just from Grant. It's Grant, Jason, Taj, Devin, all of them, I think, have done a phenomenal job. And that kind of tells me that they've been putting in the time away from here. You just can't walk in here every day and expect to only think about quarterback play or only think about our scheme just when we're here. You got to put some time, away from the facility to kind of dive into that stuff. And all of those guys, you can tell have been doing a phenomenal job.
Tim on the left.
Yeah, what do you feel about Keyshawn King and what his role might be in the passing game and some of the different ways he can be used?
Keyshawn, explosive player. We all know that. Being able to get him touches, is huge, because not just his linear speed, but I think the wiggle he has, the acceleration he has, the burst he has. We got to find ways each week, to try to distribute the ball, whether it's down the field or getting him, some what I call behind the line of scrimmage touches, from whether it's from the running back position, the slot, or out wide. But just be real creative on how we get him touches.
Have you decided, I know you guys have done scrimmage, operationally, did you prefer the booth, and now you're gonna have to be on the field, or and because now you're just with the quarterbacks?
Yeah.
Do you want to push, or do you just be on the field, or have you? What's that? Those are discussions like.
We've had some discussions, and we've actually tried both.
Okay.
In the scrimmages we tried, a couple in the spring, and then I was on the field for this first scrimmage. I think it's still ongoing conversation. It's kind of crazy for me. I was telling Tebow the last time I was on the field for a game was 1998. I've been in the box. I've been in the box for that long, so I don't know how much help I can give him. But I think for the setup that we have and my role right now, I may be better suited on the field, to be able to take Grant and Jason when they come off the sideline to sit down and talk about things and discuss what they're seeing, and kind of be that go-between, between the quarterback and Tebow up in the box.
Is that going to require some sitting you down and being thinking about how you approach it? Because you said, that's 25 years.
A long time.
Long time.
A long time.
Decades, we'll say.
Yeah.
How to approach it, and what do you think would be, the best way to do it, or do you think is it like riding a bike where it's just it is what it is, or?
There's certain things, that I think, that I'm gonna have to sit down and think about. But from the scrimmage the other day, I actually kind of enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Once I learned how to stay back and kind of stay out of everybody's way, I kind of enjoyed it. But I think it'll be good. I think definitely there'll be a checklist of things that I need to go through and think about. But I think it's going to be beneficial for us from the setup that we have.
David, last one.
Are there any quarterbacks you've coached in the past that any skills that Grant has that remind you of anybody?
Grant, the first thing I think about when I think about Grant is just his accuracy. He's got incredible accuracy. We give those guys a accuracy or a location GPA. Just like you do in school, you get a 1, 2, 3, 4, and grading some of his balls. It's incredible. His accuracy, whether it's quicks, intermediates, deep balls. So I think of accuracy with him. He may be the most accurate I've ever coached. And then pocket movement. You know, he just has a knack, a sense of when to move and how to move, and not bail too quick. You know, a lot of guys that's got decent, you know, running skills, they want to bail immediately. Well, he does a good job of that, of hanging in the pocket and knowing when and when not to get out, and then having little efficient movements with his feet. You know, those are the first two things that pop out, you know, when I think of comparing him to others. But incredible accuracy, great movement, just a complete package. Knows how to run the offense, command of the offense, leadership in his own way. So he's a total package.